Men, what is something your girl does that you really love? Before we start with the first story, please hit a subscribe and ring the notification bell to stay updated with us. Story 1. I love that about my GF. She's a great listener, and she always asks me about my day. Whenever I'm talking, she genuinely listens with interest, not just listening for the sake of waiting for her turn to talk. Usually I'm more of the listener type, but this gal makes me talk so much. When I'm done telling her about my day, then it's my turn to ask her about her day. It's a great dynamic. She literally listened to me explain the Escape from Tarkov lore and gameplay. It used to be my main game, still play it time to time. She genuinely listened, and she even asked me stuff about it. And the day after, she asked me to explain more about the lore. Damn, I love her. Story 2. I had a hemorrhagic stroke when an artery in the brain pops and bleeds into the brain tissue on December 31st. My wife found me passed out on the floor beside our bed, and after getting me up, she realized that my left side was unresponsive. He called the ambulance, and I've been in the hospital since. I'm now in a rehab hospital, and my wife Ife makes an effort to visit me most day. I especially love it when she comes to MIM 9 AM physical therapy session, because she is a fantastic cheerleader. Does always pointing out how much I've improved in abilities since I first came to rehab 2 weeks ago. I can only hope that every dude has this kind of support after a medical emergency. Story 3. Genuinely tries to take interest in my interests. There's plenty of things that I like that she doesn't, but the fact that she tries and at the very least is interested in the fact that it interests me means the world. This is important. My ex-fiance would flat out tell me I'm sorry, but I really just don't care about what you're talking about, and it really hurt my feelings. My wife, on the other hand, will listen to me talk for as long as I can breathe, even if it's not something that interesting to her. I do the same for her. I think one of the most beautiful things about a person is listening to them talk about something that they have a genuine passion for. Story 4. Singing when she is not in the same room as me. She's a little tone deaf, and she doesn't know the lyrics most of the time, but just hearing her voice from a distance and knowing she's having fun, it instantly calms me. Bonus points when the sun is shining as well. The world feels perfect in these little moments. I love it when her best friend visits and they do a girls' night at our flat with movies. Walking through a flat and hearing the laughter or giggle of the person I love the most is like a hot bath for my soul. Story 5. First, when she's amused and really laughing. She snorts. She gets embarrassed, but I think it's adorable. Second, a little TMI, but she wraps her arms around me when I collapse on her right after sex. Says she feels protective, because it seems like I'd be vulnerable in that moment. Third, she'll do little things to build my confidence, and it's not even intentional. I was getting dressed at her place one morning. Thought she was asleep, but then I felt her staring at me. Looked over, and she had the biggest smile on her face. Girl was just beaming at me. All I could do was shake my head and chuckle to myself. That stroked my ego for a long time. Story 6. I spent 28 days in the hospital in 2019, colon cancer. She was there every single day. Often, I'd wake up in the morning and she was there. And most days, she only left after I fell asleep. We had been married 15 years. We have 3 kids. But her priority was me every moment for 28 days. She even talked my barber into coming to the hospital to trim my beard. A man much wiser than myself once said, "If someone loves you with all they have but you don't fundamentally believe it, you will never experience it." That 28 days was it for me. I've always felt like she's out of my league, and she could find someone better anytime. I used to struggle with insecurities, not after that month. She's awesome. But most days, all she has to do is squeeze my ass like I'm some kind of piece of meat. Story 7. My GF is the best hider of things. Inadvertently, she literally doesn't even try. We live in a very small apartment and I'll see her on her phone, and not even 5 minutes later she'll be pacing around saying she can't find her phone, so I get up and help her look for it. And man, I swear to God, it just disappears from existence until I check everywhere 10 times. I always end up finding her lost things after a little while, and she's always so excited when I find it. I almost feel like a dog finding a hidden treat and its owner's getting excited. Regardless, it's always so cute how happy she is when I find her things, and I am always more than happy to go on the hunt, but I'm not sure how many more times I can say, wow, this was your best one yet, before she peaks and makes something truly vanish from existence. She also just straight up hides from me sometimes, and she's really fucking good at it. She's like a damn ghillied sniper, but her Achilles heel is that she starts giggling when I walk past wherever she's hiding. Story 8. She would say, ooh, big stretch to our cats when they stood up and stretched. Didn't think much of it other than cute, but sometime later she did the same to me when I was leaning back. Made me jolt up laughing, and it's become a thing she does now. I find it very cute and endearing. Story 9. She calls me out on shit. I'd keek why I love it so much, but one of the times I know I really loved her was when she said you tend to look for the worst in people. She was 100% right. I'd gotten used to assuming the worst in people. It made me more cold. Since then, I've looked for the best in people, and I am just much more happier. She's my shining light of positivity in a dark world, and she brings me up with her. I love her for that. Story 10. When she gives me shit the way I give her shit. My wife, 41 years old, retired military, beautiful gamer girl, kept telling me that her computer monitor had lines running horizontally through it. I initially blew it off and said it's probably your speakers giving it some kind of electromagnetic interference. Weeks later, I notice my screen has the exact same issue. So, I tell her, baby, it's definitely the speakers. Now mine's doing the same thing. Motherfucker. No. She immediately starts laughing. She swapped our monitors while I was at the grocery store. That's what I get for blowing off what she said. I love this woman. Story 11. She is so incredibly supportive of the things that I do. I've never had someone be so interested in my hobbies and is genuinely proud of the things I make and the time it takes to make them. I make a lot of 90s related videos, and she just gets so excited when I post a new one, shares it, comments, and is like my biggest fan. It's the complete opposite of my last relationship, so it just makes me feel really loved, if that makes sense. She'll ask so many questions about my process, find things related to whatever topic I'm covering, and always points out her favorite. She's genuinely such a great person. She loves asking questions about my daughter, playing games with her, hearing about her day. They both love to poke fun at me, and it just makes me so happy. I love her so much. Story 12. There are a number of things she does. I often feel like the luckiest man in the world from her love. She has this way of looking at me that makes me feel so much love. It just melts all my stress and makes my heart feel so good. My favorite place in the whole world is having my cheek touching hers. It's something that calms my heart and makes me feel all stress go away. She's the only one in the world that knows me like she does, but she makes me feel like the best man she's ever known. I really lucked out with the woman I married. She's the best thing that has ever happened to me in my life. Story 13. Honestly, her existence is ecstasy. She has no idea how cute she looks when she can't figure something out, how her cooking takes me back to an easier time, even if it's something as simple as a PB&J sandwich. Holding her hand, her smell, her voice. We're almost at 8 years now, and her naked body still has the same effect on me as it did when we were teens. She often asks, how are you not bored of my boobs yet? Oh baby, there's millions of boobs for me to see on the internet, but yours makes my chest tight simply because they're yours. So in hindsight, there's nothing my girl can or can't do that I won't love. She's my angel. Story 14. When we all go out to a wedding or party, she always gets my food first before she gets hers. Then she will go to the bartender and hand them $100 and says, you see that gentleman with the blue shirt on? Make sure he's taking care of it. Took me years to figure out she was doing this. Here I was thinking the bartenders just like me. I tipped them myself really well too. They always had my drink ready when I walked up. And I would finger gun them and drop a $10 in the cup. LOL. Another thing, I grew up really poor. Never had a steak until I joined the Navy. Once in a while, when my dad had an influx of cash, my mom would buy a chuck steak, throw it in the broiler for my dad. My siblings and I never got any of the steak, but we were allowed to take white bread and dip it in the grease in the pan afterwards. I don't remember when in our relationship I had told her this story, but years later, when we had steaks, all our kids and sometimes friends-in-laws at the table, and when she serves me my steak, she only bought NY strip or ribeye. I happened to notice that my steak was the biggest. I just made a mental note. This happens like 10 more times, and I finally bring up to her. "Why is the steak you give me always the biggest out of everyone else's?" She said, "Because you never got any growing up, so I'm making up for it." Did I cry? No. Teared up like mother effer though. Story 15. Everything. Best partner I've ever had. She makes sure I want for nothing. If she's off, she'll make my coffee in the morning and my lunch for work. At night, she'll pop into the bathroom while I shower to wash my back, and afterwards, she'll rub my scalp, hands, and back. She'll grab my favorite snacks from the store without even asking, without me even knowing I wanted them. She keeps a very excited pup from jumping me at the door when I get home so I can have a moment to unwind from the job and the commute. If there's anything I want, all I need to do is ask, and she makes it happen. You bet your ass I reciprocate. Every day she makes me want to be the best man I can be. She's the light of my life, and my goal every day is to make sure that not only does she know that, but she feels it to her soul. All right, folks, that's a wrap. If you like more of this, please hit a like button and subscribe to the channel. You can also share your thoughts in the comment below. I'll see you in the next video.